Hi, this is handstand tutorial video number 3. So this video assumes you've already done videos number 1 and 2, you're comfortable with your kick, and you're starting to have some times when you're kicking where you're actually getting up and your feet are hitting onto the wall and you're in a handstand. Once you're having some success with your kicking and actually getting your feet up on the wall, it's time to start to work on control of the kick to give you the ability to start to increase your balance when you're up there. So at first, it's totally normal to be a little bit overzealous with the kick sometimes. So you may be just bashing into the wall. Hopefully you haven't kicked through any sheetrock. But as you work through, you want to start to slow that kick, slow that momentum down. So that when you're coming up, you're having a moment where maybe there's a pause before you hit the wall, or maybe you're just touching the wall more lightly. The key to that is, and one of the keys that I find of balancing in the middle, is really making sure not to bring your kicking leg up too quickly. So you want to swing with your swinging leg, let the swing leg either find the wall or find balance, and then bring your kicking leg up. So I'll show you what that looks like. Practice that. As you get better at that, you may have moments where you even experience a little bit of balance before you hit the wall. A couple other things to build your strength and your confidence in your handstand before you make the transition toward balancing in the middle are to work on understanding your brakes. So your brakes, that's what I call them, your brakes are the things that keep you from going over the handlebars, because that is the scary thing in a handstand is, we want to feel like we have control. We're not going to fall over backwards, basically. Totally safe to fall down forwards with our feet toward the ground, but it's not going to feel as safe to fall over the other way. The two brakes you have once you're balancing on your hands are your tips of your fingers. So if you just lean forward in standing, you will feel that your toes press down into the floor to keep you from falling over forward. So it's going to be the same thing with your fingers. So that's another piece why it's important to have your fingers spread wide and to keep the pads of your fingers really down on the ground and really push in with them, particularly if you feel yourself wobbling over forward. The second piece is your positioning of your pelvis. So a lot of times when we get into an arms overhead position, we'll end up in what I've heard called banana back, which is a good description, kind of looks like that. Basically where your back is really overarched. So in order to control that motion and in order to control the position of your center of gravity, which is in your pelvis, over your base of support, you need to be able to move the pelvis around while you're upside down. So that means you need to be able to do a posterior pelvic tilt. So the tail has to be able to go down and the front of the pelvis has to be able to lift up while you're upside down. So this is a little drill to work on that. So for this drill, you would kick up to the wall and then actually intentionally go into a banana back and put your butt on the wall. From here, you're going to squeeze your butt and start to do that posterior pelvic tilt, like you're lifting your tailbone up. And you're going to do that so intensely that you're going to actually pull your feet away from the wall. So you're going to do posterior pelvic tilt until your feet come off the wall. Maybe you'll balance for a half a second in there, or maybe you'll just fall right down. That's a great drill to build your ability to move your pelvis in that way when you're upside down, because that is what's going to keep you, basically if you're balancing in the middle and your feet start going over backward, you can use your tail, really doing that posterior pelvic tilt, to bring them back down in a way that feels more safe and comfortable. Another drill that you can do once you're working on balancing at the wall is you can do a drill where you have only one foot touching the wall, which puts you in a little more realistic handstand position. This one you do a little further away from the wall, so maybe your feet are, or your hands are a foot away or so. And then you're gonna kick up. And you're gonna bend one knee, plant that foot on the floor, and have the other leg straight up in the air. That's a great position to hold in because it'll feel a lot more like you're actually stacked with your legs, your hips and your legs over your shoulders. All of this is good stuff to work on. The other really good thing to work on is just building your stamina and building your comfort upside down by doing prolonged holds at the wall. So the year that I learned how to, or I should say, the year that I had success for the first time doing a handstand in the middle of the room, I put a lot of time in that year, after many years of trying intermittently. I put a lot of time into 1 minute long handstand holds at the wall. And I really think that was what made the difference for me because it built my comfort in that position. That's a huge piece of handstand. A lot of you are plenty strong and have plenty good enough balance to do a handstand, no problem. It's really just that you're not comfortable in that position. So you get a little nervous, you get a little scared, and we just don't function as well when we're nervous and scared. We kind of tend to flail. So work on building up to a 1 minute hold at the wall. Do that consistently over a period of time until you're feeling much more confident. And then when you're ready, you can move on to kicking up in the middle. And if you want some help with that, you could click on to video number 4 and we'll work on kicking up outside where it's a little bit softer landing.